Nigel Farage will not be standing at the general election. We're going to read into this more from Sky News, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from Sky News with the headline of Nigel Farage will not be standing at the general election. Nigel Farage says he will not be making a return to British politics after a general election was called. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video. So on Wednesday night, he was asked on GB News whether or not he would be standing, and he responded by saying that he was going to sleep on it. Now, I've covered the stories in the past about him of him wanting to be a part of the Trump campaign and to basically build up his engagement more in America. And it looks like that's what's going to be the case. It looks like that's what's likely to be here. I think it's also important to highlight as well that for whatever people think of Nigel Farage, and he is a divisive figure without a shadow of a doubt, every time he has stood at the general stood to be an MP, he has lost every single time. He has. It's just no matter how popular he may seem, he may seem in the mainstream media and paints this portrayal of him, he's just not popular enough to be in Parliament. Now, you may argue, but some people may argue and clap back and say, well, if we had proportional representation, he'd be in it. Well, we honestly don't know that for sure. We can speculate that maybe he would have gotten the votes yet to do that. And if someone wants to do the calculations on his last campaign that he ran as an MP to verify that, you're more than welcome to do so. But the other question is obviously, where does this leave Reform UK now? Because he is still the president of Reform. Richard Tice is the leader, and he is going to be leading Reform UK into this general election. So what does this mean for Reform UK? Well, I think Reform didn't have a very good outing at the local elections. They did gain one council seat, I think, maybe, but that was about it. They really, for all the talk about them, they didn't really make any gains at all, and that's not a good sign. Even when a lot of Conservative voters are going over to switching to Reform, you didn't see the numbers. You didn't see it being shown at these local elections. Now, of course, yes, the local elections and the general elections are going to be very different caveat. And obviously, I believe that Reform are still planning to, at the time of this recording, I still believe that Reform are planning to have a candidate in every single seat in England and Wales. I don't think they're going to have it in Scotland. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. But I don't think Reform's position was going to change as much as I think it would have been if Nigel Farage had stood. I think that Richard Tice and Reform are still going to be able to do damage to the Conservatives at the general election. Many people who will not want to go anywhere near Labour, will not want to vote for them, will vote for Reform, either because they don't want to vote for Lib Dems or Greens for whatever their reasons. That's their choice. But it's more of a protest vote as opposed to not casting their vote and having their voice at home. So I do think a proportion of the public that's going to vote for Reform. A majority of them will be Conservative voters. Some of them will be other voters as well, because whatever you might think of Reform Party, they have been able to appeal to people, and polling has shown that, and we've heard it from people on doorsteps and whatnot from members of the general public. So it's going to be interesting to see, now that we know that Nigel Farage is not going to be standing at the general election. We're going to see how Richard Tice's campaign is going to go. How are they going to be able to win over voters? Are they just simply going to be having lots of media interviews, or are they actually going to have people on the ground knocking on doors, talking to people about trying to win them over? That's going to be the question, because now we're going to find out, are Reform going to be a serious party? Because if they are, this is it for them. Because in my opinion, if they don't make gains at this general election, I think they're done for. I really do think they're done for. What else have they're riding on the coattails of obviously what's happening with immigration. And if Labour come to power, which is what he's looking likely to do, and they get a grip on immigration, and that's still an if, and understandably many people don't think they will, if they get a grip on it, if they bring the numbers down, if they clear the backlogs, and migration gets under control, what's reform going to be able to bash and talk about them? Because what are they going to do? Go back to Brexit? Not many people are not happy with, obviously, with Brexit. That's not going to. It might work with some people. It's not going to work with them. And if immigration is going to be brought down, and that's going to be that's one of the main things that the reform will go about. What's going to be next for them? And if that gets under control, what's going to be next for reform? So this could very much be this could be pretty much a nail in the coffin for Reform Party as a whole at this general election if they don't perform. But that's just my thoughts anyway. So the Reform UK honorary president and former UKIP leader said he had long and hard about whether he should stand to become an MP and said it is not the right time. Mr. Farage said, although the general election is important, the United States election in November has huge global significance. So he has chosen to help with the grassroots campaign as there is a strong America is vital for our peace and security. He added that the choice between Labour and the Conservatives is uninspiring and only reform will have radical agendas that is needed to end the decline in this country. The former I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out of Here contestant said he is fully supportive of Reform UK leader Richard Tice and urged voters to put their trust in him and Lee Anderson, the party's only MP. Excuse me. I don't think, obviously, Lee Anderson is going to be under pressure as well. He's going to have to work really, really hard to win over his voters. I don't think he will hold on to his seat, but if Lee Anderson manages to hold on to his seat, it will be a massive, massive gain of endorsement in his constituency that people are backing reform. He's talked a lot, but will it be backed at the polls in his constituency? I don't know. Right now, I think no. I think he's too toxic as a person. That's my general consensus. But maybe not. Maybe the people in his constituency have a different perspective on that. But it is going to be interesting to see the campaign that Reform has. At some point, obviously, I will cover their policies a bit more in detail for people, because obviously we had manifestos will start coming out very soon from all the parties, so we'll obviously be looking at them as well. But just on Nigel Farage, obviously he's not going to be involved in this. He's stepping back. He's going to America, and that's the kind of the premise of this from this video. But what do you guys think? What do you guys make of Nigel Farage's decision that he's not going to stand in the general election? He's going to take a step back. He's going to be focusing on the campaign in America, representing Trump and the Trump campaign, working with them, and instead not going to be here for Reform UK. What do you guys make of this decision by Farage? And what the implications do you think it will be for Reform UK and their campaign? Let me know your thoughts and more about that in the comments section down below. If you found this video informative, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video. And subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p, or join me on Rumble, Patreon, or Facebook for exclusive content there as well. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope to catch you all very, very soon.